for these sort of purposes. Helicopters are used for that primarily, although certain aviation aircraft are retrofitted for that. But you take an aircraft that is of that size and that magnitude with that cargo capability and retrofit it for liquefied discharge, the aircraft would make more money commercially as a civilian entity hauling cargo than it would spraying wildfires. So if they're not going to be spraying wildfires with these aircraft, I'll guarantee you they're not spraying for cockroaches. Now, how many of them they did after I left, how many of them they did before I was there, I don't know. But I do know for a fact that 5 of them were done during my tenure there in that 3 months that I was there. So is there any particular...
Absolutely. So is what you're saying is basically they're taking a civilian version looking... Yeah, so is what you're saying is they're taking a civilian looking version of an aircraft because typically they have, if they're going to use a plane to put out fires, they're going to have a massive underbelly on that plane, and they're already going to be set up to have sprayer, apparatuses that drop out fire retardant and all sorts of stuff like that. So you're saying that basically they were taking civilian-looking aircraft and they're keeping from the Evergreen facility actually have a neon painting on their wings. They're made to look like Southwest Airlines or some other form of airlines. The particular craft that you're mentioning right now, the 5 of them, what was the paint scheme on the plane?
The paint scheme on these 747s and also on the 727s that I worked on were the standard evergreen, green and white. They'll have evergreen written on the side of them. They'll have the green pinstriping. And also a signature trademark of every evergreen aircraft is they will have 5 stars in a circle, somewhat like a pentagon. That's their symbol, and it's up towards the nose of the aircraft. The aircraft were white. They had green pinstripes and the green evergreen insignia logo on the side. That's their standard paint job. You can also find that logo on the document that I provided you with.
Are you familiar with these small triangular type craft that to me look almost like mini black jets or something? I've noticed from an aerial view. And are some of these planes potentially drone aircraft? Do you know if the craft that you were working on were to be piloted by physical human pilots, or do you know if drone technology was employed in the craft? And I've also heard from our eyewitness account that they were retrofitting cameras onto the bottom of some of these crafts. Do you know if that coincides with some kind of drone program? And do you have any information on that?
Okay, first it should be explained that Evergreen is a very highly secure facility, and not all people and not all employees have access to all areas. You have your assigned areas, and you are expected and basically ordered to stay within those areas. The only time that you switch areas is when you have orders to switch your hangars and to begin your work on this, that, or the other thing within that hangar. So certain guys are going to be working in certain hangars, other guys are going to be working in other hangars, and what you see and hear of what goes on within the other hangars is simply scuttlebutt at lunchtime. Now, the things that I heard about when I was there, I have heard about these triangular aircraft. I have never personally seen one. They may have had them put away and locked up in another hangar. And they have several hangars there, not just one. Although they only do have one hangar that is large enough to house 3 747s, and that's the main hangar there at the main entrance. Now, as far as other things, now what I'm fixing to go into is things that I did not personally witness, but I have spoke with people and other employees and contractors that have worked there when I was there, and again, this was normally at lunchtime when we would gather in the cafeteria, that they had seen and witnessed all kinds of nefarious activities over the years. I worked there for that 1 3-month period, and quite frankly, I have no desire to return. The large triangular aircraft, I never seen them, but I did hear about them. Evergreen, as a, and this is another noteworthy facet, we've already discussed Bill Smith and the FBI training facility that's right next door, or at least what's identified as. But Evergreen, as a civilian entity, has old relic warbirds that have been completely restored and fully functional. Now, the key point here is fully functional. Whenever you get an old warbird out of a boneyard for restoration, whether it be for a museum or for a private collection, the gun turrets never work, the barrels are spiked, and they are made inoperable. Pieces are missing, blueprints are unavailable, this, that, and the other thing. I had the opportunity to personally witness and inspect a B-24 that they had there at the time that they were rebuilding. The gun turrets on this B-24 were in fact fully functional. They also have a B-17 there on the grounds. They keep it locked up in a hangar. They bring it out for air shows and such as that. It is the only B-17 supposedly, and again I say supposedly, in civilian hands. And the reason I say supposedly is I do not believe that they are entirely a civilian organization. I'm talking CIA, federal government, that sort of thing. The only B-17 supposedly in civilian hands that also has working gun turrets and working bomb bay doors.